Hello everyone. This is so new to me. For those of you joining in on this live broadcast, just a heads up, I have never done a live broadcast on YouTube, but I wanted to give it a try because I've done several on Facebook and on Instagram, and I wanted to try this whole YouTube live thing. Also because I wanted to save this video for future references. I know not everyone is going to be able to tune in tonight, but I do get asked a lot about this topic, especially on my other socials. But since YouTube is already a collection of my videos, I figured why not just get this on YouTube already. I'm trying to see if there's a way I can see. Okay, I'm making sure I can see everything. So if you don't know what this live video is about, or if you haven't really been following my posts recently on Instagram, this video is going to, hi guys, kind of want to let the room fill up a little bit, so I'm just going to kind of talk about what this video will be about. But I get asked a lot about tips and kind of like training info for fellow or aspiring makeup artists. And for those of you who don't know, I am a freelance makeup artist. I don't just do YouTube tutorials here. Aside other types of videos that I post on my YouTube, my full-time job is being a makeup artist. And with that comes a lot of questions that I get frequently asked. And a lot of those questions have to deal with bridal. And I figured since spring is around the corner, it's prime wedding time for a lot of people, I think it'd be a helpful video to kind of put out there for you guys. I did do a question and answer on Instagram. I collected those questions. I'll be answering those questions today, but aside from the questions, I'm gonna be covering topics that I feel would probably be helpful for those of you who are a makeup artist or you're aspiring to be a makeup artist and you're trying to get your foot in the door into the bridal market. And trust me, it is a crazy market because it is huge, but it's so beneficial, especially for those of us in the beauty community. Let's see. Hi. This is like super weird. I always get nervous when I'm trying something new. I'm like, I'm gonna start to sweat. But anyways, so if you are a makeup artist, it is like not a surprise that bridal is probably one of the biggest clientele groups that you are going to have. It is definitely a market that dominates, I think, the beauty industry. And what I have found doing makeup and freelancing for the past almost 5 years is that most people will not be hiring a makeup artist unless it is their wedding day. It's one of those occasions that even if someone who is rarely into doing their makeup or doesn't really have interest in it at all, they will be finding themselves looking for and hiring a makeup artist for their wedding day. It is just that special occasion that most people want to have their makeup professionally done. So it is a great market to tap into if you are in beauty. Now, I just cover makeup. I don't do hair. I'm not a hairdresser, but kind of the same rules or tips and tricks can apply no matter what sector of the beauty market you're in. So hopefully these tips kind of help you get your foot in the door and get your work out there, and hopefully you get to start to build your bridal clientele, because it's definitely a good clientele to have. So a little bit of background information, because like I said, I've been doing this for quite a while, and I think it'd be kind of good for y'all to know exactly how I started. Not that the way I started is the only way to start, but it definitely will give maybe some of you an idea of like where to even begin, because it definitely isn't one of those things where you're like, okay, I want to do makeup. You're not going to just like pick up a brush and buy your products and then boom, you have clientele. It definitely does take a little bit of building momentum in order for you to get yourself nice and steady within the, makeup artist profession. So the way that I started freelancing was actually not by freelancing at all, but it was through working at a makeup counter. A lot of makeup artists, you'll find they started out this way, and really this is like such a good way to get yourself used to working with clients, especially if you were someone that really didn't do makeup on people before. So I've always been a makeup lover, but that didn't mean that I was doing makeup on others like consistently. It was mainly just something that I had a passion for. I loved playing around with makeup, especially on myself. And then while working at Dillard's actually is when I was given the opportunity to work at one of the counters there. It was with Bobbi Brown Cosmetics. And I was there for a couple years. So within those couple of years is where I got to not only experience how to, yes, apply makeup on all sorts of different types of skin and ages, but also I got to learn how to develop customer service when it comes to this type of service industry. It's a little bit different than just customer service in like retail or the restaurant business. There definitely is a way that you need to, I feel like, interact with clients in this type of setting. So that really helped me. And then not only that, but you are getting what is basically called like foot traffic while working at a counter. So you get to just do face after face after face, and it's really helpful for not only sharpening your skill set, but also building your portfolio. At the time that I started working there is when the whole social media thing started kind of taking off, and I was noticing that the more that I would post client photos, the more I would get people contacting me, especially through Dillard's, like through the phone number through Dillard's and stuff, to book appointments with me. So that's like really cool, and it really does help build your portfolio a lot. Now, I can give you a little bit of background of my first bride, and it was kind of funny. Like, I have told the story before, but for those of you who don't know the story, I remember when I was working there, my manager had scheduled a couple of appointments, and one was a bride and one was, I think, for her maid of honor. The bride came in with her maid of honor, and my manager was like, okay, you know, you take the bride, I'll take the maid of honor. And I chickened out. I was so afraid to do this girl's wedding day makeup because I was like, I've never like done really a bride before, and I thought this is like one of her biggest days. What if I mess up and I ruin her wedding day? So I told my manager I can't do it. Like, I'm way too nervous. I'd feel much better if you take the bride and I'll do the maid of honor. And she was like, okay, sure, like, you know. So I think on that, I look back on that now and laugh, because now I've like, I don't even know how many brides I've done at this point. But just to kind of share with you guys that we all start somewhere, and it's totally normal to be nervous and to want to second guess yourself. But after that initial fear and that, you know, first, okay, I'm gonna back out of this, I had to force myself to get over that, and I'm so glad that I did, because every time you do someone's makeup, it gets easier and easier every time, but you also learn something new every time. So it's definitely the best thing to just go out there and not only just try to book appointments, but ask people to practice on them and everything, just to build your comfortability and to build your portfolio a bit. So on the topic of building your portfolio, we have such a good like access to tools in this day and age. It is definitely helpful to take advantage of all of this free marketing and advertisement. So if you have Facebook, if you have Instagram, Snapchat, there are so many social media outlets out there that will let you advertise basically for free, get to market yourself for free. And if you're not taking advantage of those, then you're really missing out on getting some exposure and your name out there. So I have like a bullet point of things here because I didn't want to lose track. But one of the things that I could say that would be really helpful if you are a makeup artist and you feel like you're having a little bit of trouble building clientele is maybe you need to kind of come up with a coherent branding. I found that over the years, the more I got to get my brand more acute, I was really starting to see like, okay, things are flowing a little bit better as far as my pages. So what that means is, for instance, I have a website. Hey, Grisela. I have a website, and with that website and design, that's how I kind of wanted to match up my Instagram, my Facebook page, and any other socials that I use to promote my business. And you know, you kind of just want to keep the style the same, but even the name the same. That way people can find you in any way like possible. Some people don't have Instagram, some people don't have Facebook, surprisingly. And back in the day, my Instagram handle used to be something completely different. It was not Cat Eye Beauty, it was my personal name. But then I had my Facebook page that was something else. So it was a little hard for people to find me on there. And everyone is looking for your socials to see your work. That's kind of where they first see, you know, your portfolio in a way. So I had to find one, a name that I could run across all channels, and two, just apply them to all the channels as best as I could, and especially if like the name wasn't taken. So you do want to come up with something a little bit unique. So like I said, I built those off of my website, which I think it's really important to have. That is going to be my next point here, is if you are a freelancer, it is so helpful, not only for you, but especially for your clients or potential clients, to have a website with all of your information to refer back to. We live in a time period where people are going at lightning speed. It's not like, oh, let me call her, let me talk to her, let me think about it. Like, people want to know, hey, are you available this day, this time? What's your pricing, and how do I book? And all of that can be answered on a nice professional website. So I definitely suggest that you get a website up and going. And on there, it's going to be really important to have these things, which is going to be, you're going to want to make sure you have your portfolio up there. So you're going to have photos of your work. You're going to want to give a little bit of a synopsis of like who you are, like what you're about, introduce yourself. You want to seem personable, you know, make people feel comfortable even contacting you at all. And you also want to have your contact info, whether you want to be contacted by email, by phone. I remember when I first started, I was not comfortable giving out my personal phone number, so I had everything just via email, which wasn't bad. And then if you are finding that it is a little bit easier to have a phone number, there are so many apps out there that will let you generate a different number other than your personal cell, and you can text through that number and everything, which is what I did. And it's just so much easier to keep my work messages separate from my personal messages, because that can get messy. And the number one thing that you're going to want to have on your website, and some people may disagree with this, I find that it's like really, really helpful and it might get you bookings faster, is to have your pricing up on your website. How you do your pricing, I can't really tell you how to do it because that's going to be up to you. But for me personally, I find what works is that I have a flat rate pricing on packages, and there is no room for like, well, I get a lot of people that maybe would be like, well, what about if I just want you to do my eyes, or if I just want you to put on lashes or something like that. And not that that's bad to offer that. If you want to offer that, that is totally up to you. That is totally fine. For me, I couldn't justify the time that it took to do smaller services and to cut down on pricing when it's just going to be better to just offer these packages, and that's it. And the reason why you want to have your pricing up and for people to see is because it's going to help weed out clients, potential clients that may find that your pricing is too high, and or too, I don't know, not for them in whatever way that may be. And it kind of takes out the time wasted of someone contacting you and then them not really wanting to book you after knowing your prices. Whereas if the pricing is up there right in front, then people can make the decision like, okay, her pricing is, you know, what I had in mind, gonna contact them, book, boom, you have a booking. Whereas if you don't have your pricing out there, then you're gonna get a lot of people flooding you with messages. And think about it in this term or in this way. You are taking time out of your day to be, you know, communicating with potential clients. And if only half of those had known what your pricing was ahead of time, then it wouldn't have taken as long to get back to the people who were going to book you. So it's really just trying to be good with your time management, and then also just having your price point out there already. It just helps the consumer or the client get a better feel for where they stand with you and if they want to book with you or not. And then along with the pricing, I would suggest putting up policies on your website. So if you have a late policy, if you have a cancellation policy, if you require deposits, all of that is so useful, and it's just so easy to have it up on a page. So when someone contacts you and they're like, hey, like, what's the deal? Like, how do I book you, or how do you work? Just send them the link to your website, and it's so easy. They read it over themselves, and then they're like, okay, got it, let's book this appointment. So I just find that it's a little bit more efficient, and it gets people to end up booking you. So like I said, I have set prices and packages. I know I'm gonna get asked this a lot because it definitely is a bridal type of service, but I get asked a lot about trials. How do I go about trials? If you wanna offer trials for brides, or if you don't wanna offer them for brides, I mean, that is completely up to you. But I will say bridal trials are extremely helpful, not just for the client, but for you as an artist, because you're gonna have clients that are not really sure what they want, or maybe they need some assistance, some guidance. They need to have their nerves put to ease, that they're gonna be able to trust you as their artist for their big day. So having that initial meeting and having that trust instilled already before the wedding day is gonna be so helpful. You're gonna feel better about your work and what you're gonna deliver for them, and they're gonna feel a lot better about their appointment with you. I offer my trials Monday through Thursday during the weekday because I don't want to take time out of my high volume days, which is the weekend, because I do offer the trials at a discounted price because it is like a trial basis, and I just feel like that's somewhere where you can give the bride a little bit of a break. But how you want to go about it is completely up to you. I know there are a lot of professionals out there that will just charge the exact same rate for the trial as they do on the day of, and that's okay too. It's really going to be like, what do you want to offer? But I would highly suggest offering trials regardless. So moving on to how to gain clientele, which is a little bit of a tricky topic, because I can't really say there is a surefire step-by-step procedure that is going to ensure that you do get this like massive clientele. It's definitely going to take a lot of moving parts to do it, and it's definitely going to take a lot of time. So you're going to have a little bit of patience and just a little bit of savviness in how to market yourself. And that all goes back to taking advantage of the social media age and being able to post. I cannot even begin to tell you how much of a difference you see your phone blowing up, I guess is a good way to put it, when I post a picture, or I'm posting pictures consistently and just, you know, showing client after client and reminding people to contact me. Whereas if you go a few days without posting, you might notice a little bit of a decline in people reaching you. And the thing is, it's not that people don't know about you necessarily, it's just that people are putting it off to maybe contact you. So you definitely want to make sure you are being consistent with posting, and you do want to take advantage of your socials. Now, how to really grasp and utilize your socials to like the best of your marketing ability is, when you post, you want to hashtag. You're going to want to hashtag anything that's related to the type of work that you do, especially if you're a makeup artist. You know, people are searching. I cannot count how many brides I've had that told me, because I always ask my brides, how did you hear about me? Who did someone recommend you? Do you know someone? And a good amount is word of mouth, but another good amount that's still to this day shocking to me is so many of them are just like, I just found you on the internet. I found you on Instagram. I found you on YouTube. I found you on Facebook. And they're like, I had just searched, you know, Texas makeup artists, or, you know, RGV, McAllen, because that's where I'm located. And I popped up. So hashtags do work, especially for this field. And you do want to, I mean, how do I put this so it doesn't sound weird? However you run your socials, it's gonna give off like how you are as a professional, or how you are, like how you work. And there is no cookie cutter way into how you want your clients to perceive you and your personality. For me personally, I think I categorize myself as like boring, because I do keep it very just like business. And then, you know, I have other accounts that are my personal accounts that will share a little bit more insight of things other than my freelancing. But for Cat Eye Beauty and for my freelancing, I like to keep things just strictly business. And I feel like the clients that I get appreciate that, and they are looking for that. And not everyone is looking for that. Some people are looking for someone who is fun, who, you know, is really open, shares a lot, and that's great too. Bottom line is there is a client for everybody, but it is your job to find what is your client, because we all have different preferences on who we want to deal with, who we want to interact with, if that makes sense. So, just my tip, if you're trying to like come off as like this is just business, then I would suggest keeping your social media that is dedicated to your work only, and then maybe creating other pages for, you know, your personal stuff or any other interests that you may have. But I just think it also keeps things a little bit more organized, because you don't want people messaging you on all different types of profiles that you may have. I just like, you know, message me on my business profile if you're looking for an appointment. Okay. So with that being said, yes, people have found me just solely based on, you know, the internet, but another really, really big part of the way people will find me, or how I have grown my clientele, is word of mouth. Word of mouth works like crazy, mainly because if someone's getting married, they really like the work that you did, they're gonna know someone eventually that's also getting married or looking for a makeup artist for any other occasion. And you wanna make sure that you're like one of the first ones that they recommend, because they really enjoyed their experience with you. And this has a lot to do with customer service. I have been in retail for a really long time before I started doing this, and there is one rule in retail that is annoying to a lot of people, but it is very true, and it is how I handle a lot of my situations even to this day. And that is that the customer is always right. So a lot of people don't like hearing that, but at the end of the day, you don't want to come off as the bad guy. Even if you weren't really in the wrong, you do want to just try to bend over backwards and do what you can to please your clients, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones to leave your chair, and whatever impression you left on them, that's what they're going to carry with you, or that's what they're going to carry with them. And if someone asks them about you, you want to make sure they're like, oh my gosh, she was easy to work with, you know, very kind and professional and everything. So, you know, you kind of don't want there to be like bad blood left, and they're gonna be like, well, you know, this kind of happened. So those little things really do hold people back from contacting you, because they're like, okay, maybe I don't want to have a bad experience with this person. But there's been a lot of times where I have to swallow my pride and just figure out a way to make a situation better, so that way the client feels that I did what I could to make them as happy as possible. The situations like this are very, very rare. I could probably count them on one hand, but it happens, because you're not gonna be able to please everyone, and things happen. We're all human, mistakes can happen, but that's why it's good to kind of organize yourself, but also learn how to speak to clients, especially with makeup. I think learning how to talk to someone is super important, because there's a lot of people that I've met that have dealt with other artists that make them feel insecure about certain, you know, skin conditions or facial features, and that's out of the client's control, like mainly all the time. So you don't want to be that artist that also is like pointing out those negatives, because that also will have an impact on how they feel about makeup artists in general. So just really like go over how you talk to people and how, you know, you word things. That way they feel extremely comfortable with you. Doing makeup is such a personal thing, so you want to make that as easy as possible, and it should feel like a friend of theirs is doing their makeup, is what I like to try to strive for. And then, like I said, right now, being organized, you know, how you like to book and everything. For me, I swear by deposits, only because that is a way to not only hold the client accountable for their appointment, but to hold myself accountable as well. And it also just makes the booking process easier for me. I get messages, inquiries a lot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are all booked in stone, or that they really are gonna end up booking. So an appointment is not like actually in my books until a deposit is collected, but that is just me personally. And then I always prefer to do things over text or messaging, only because if it's a phone call, someone else is going to probably call me a few minutes later, and then I'm not going to remember what was said on the previous call. So if I have text, if I have script that I can read, then I'll always have that information there just in case I need a reference back to it at any point, which is just extremely helpful and again helps with your time management. And then other than that, I would say, you know, don't be too worried about taking on brides and being in the wedding industry, because it is a little overwhelming at first, because we all know that wedding days are meant to be like the biggest day in, you know, people's lives, and it's true, but having confidence in yourself and in your work is going to show, and that's going to make people a lot more comfortable to book with you, and it's also going to make your work and your appointments run smoother. I've noticed that at the beginning, when I was very nervous and like still trying to learn how to perfect certain things, and I'm still learning to this day, but when I was nervous is when I would make the most mistakes, meaning that now I had to take time to fix them during an appointment, and then that made me like run longer than what I wanted to, and then just made me doubt myself. Whereas if I just kind of put that all out of my mind and was able to do an appointment confidently and take things slower, but it actually ended up being faster because little to no mistakes were made at all. And you start to realize, okay, it all comes down to confidence. You know, just be confident in yourself. And also, like I said, get your hands dirty, go out there, do appointments, you know, ask friends to help you build your portfolio. The more and more and more you practice, the more you're gonna learn along the way, and the more you're gonna really start to fine tune your business and your skills as a makeup artist. So that is kind of my tips for starting off, getting into bridal. You can definitely look into websites like Wedding Wire and The Knot. It will kind of depend on your region, on how helpful those tools are. I know for me, in the area that I live in, it's not a very widely known service to find wedding vendors. So it's really not that helpful. You're better off just continuing posting on social media and stuff like that. But if you are in a very populated area and you find that a lot of people use a Knot, a lot of people use Wedding Wire, then definitely get yourself signed up on there, get your name out there. Even like advertisements on Facebook or Instagram, I don't think they're necessarily like gonna make or break you. I would say maybe try it, see how it works out, but I feel like we really don't need to be putting money into advertisements when your whole social media is like an advertisement, if that makes sense. But yeah, and get involved in expos, get into contact with other wedding vendors, offer collaborations with wedding vendors, maybe some like photo shoots, styled photo shoots. That way when everyone posts pictures, your name is also thrown in the mix, and you can kind of start to get your name out there in the industry. So those are my tips. I will be answering the questions now that I got through Instagram, and of course any questions that I've been receiving on here. So I'm just trying to see how this works. Okay, there we go. Anyways, so the questions that I got on Instagram, I got a lot of similar like sounding questions, so I did kind of group them. That way I wasn't like repeating the same question over and over again. So a lot of the time I get asked about pictures. How do I take my client photos? And this has really evolved over the years. So when I first started taking client photos, I was using a Canon Rebel T3i camera, which is a high quality camera and it's really good. I then got a new one. It was also a Canon. It was the Canon 80D. You don't have to get a digital high resolution camera, anything fancy like that, to take client photos. I wouldn't say it's necessary. It definitely does help that your picture quality is good, but I think we all know by now that even the iPhone cameras give really, really good picture quality. So for me now, especially, instead of having to worry about carrying my big old camera everywhere, I have been just recently taking photos with my iPhone. I find that the images looks just as good, but the key is lighting. So when I'm taking photos with my phone, I do usually always carry my ring light around with me. And that is something that is going to make or break your photos. Good lighting is going to be crucial. So if I don't have my ring light with me, then I definitely have to go in front of natural lighting. And I also think that with the phone camera, you get a little bit more of a raw image. I feel like you can really tell if something looks good with the iPhone camera instead of a professional camera sometimes. So what I like to do is just make sure that the lighting is good. I adjust it on my phone, and then of course adjust my ring light or find a spot that's letting natural light leak in. And then that's what I do for my client photos. What is your application method? What is your go-to application method? So go-to application method, this is going to be different for everyone. And again, I don't like kind of saying like this is the best way, but for me personally, I find that it's much easier to start off with the eyes and then work with the face afterwards. My mouth is getting dry. But and it's funny because whenever I am doing someone's makeup and they see that I'm doing the eyes first, they kind of start to freak out a little bit because it's something that they're not used to. But I think that it just keeps things a little bit cleaner. For those of us who have already worked with makeup, we know that fallout happens with eyeshadow. So I like to just get the eyes over and done with and then wipe away the fallout and then continue with the face and everything. It just runs a lot more smooth when I do the application that way. Unless someone is just doing something really simple on the eyes, then I will for sure just kind of do the base first. And if there's like 0 to no dark colors going on the eyes, then I'll continue with the eyes last. But my go-to, eyes first, foundation second. That's just me. How long does a makeup or makeup and hair session take? Should another artist be hired? So this is a question that I get asked a lot because timing is crucial on a wedding day. For me personally, I can like bet money on it, like how long it takes me to do a makeup session, and it's always around the 1 hour mark. It could run a few minutes under or a few minutes over, but 1 hour is all I need, and that I know for sure. Now, if you're doing hair and makeup, it just kind of depends on, you know, the hairstyle and all that too. I have a best friend, she is a hairdresser, we work together a lot, and you know, I can kind of gauge how long it takes her to do something as well. I would honestly say set aside for yourself an hour and a half to 2 hours if you are getting hair and makeup done. But that's another important thing, that if you are an artist, you need to kind of really get good at timing yourself and knowing how long it takes you to do something and not running over that time, because once you already know how long it takes you to do something, it just makes scheduling that much easier, and it won't have you in like bad situations where you're running late or you're running behind, because that is super stressful for a bride. How do you take care of makeup application on mature skin or mother of the bride, for example? So it's really different when you're doing makeup on someone with mature skin, moms of the bride. They're usually always thrown into the bridal party. So you're more than likely going to be doing a few mother of the brides, mother of the groom, if you are going to be out there doing bridal parties. For me personally, that was something that I had to also kind of work with and learn how to really get it to where it's appropriate for mature skin, because I like cake. I like to have, you know, full coverage foundation. I love the glam, all of that. But for more mature skin, you kind of want to tone it down a little bit, because it's not going to look the same on someone who is in their 20s or 30s or 40s even, and to someone who is maybe 50 or plus. So my go-to application for mature skin is making sure that the skin is really moisturized and make sure that the skin has skincare on it to help kind of reduce the fine lines or any dryness that they may have with their mature skin. And then to just go in overall a lot lighter with the products, meaning lighten the foundation with a little bit of moisturizer, make it more lightweight, maybe just go in with some concealer and some foundation powder, and then keep it light on the eyes and try to meet their expectations to the best of your abilities. Now, I have had some you know, mature clients that they also really like the glam and they like, you know, the full-on makeup, which is great. But not every technique can be done on a mature client, you know, such as like cut creases or like super, super smoky eyes. So you kind of want to meet them in the middle somewhere and give them what they want, but make it suitable for their features. How do you charge travel? Who gets billed for it? Like just the brides or the bridesmaids? So that's also something too that if you're going to be going and doing house calls, you're going to want to figure out how much you're going to be charging your clients for your time on the road. For me personally, I just found a formula that was more of the distance is how I'm going to calculate a travel fee. And I'm talking about local travel. If you're doing out of town appointments, that's something totally different. You really have to add up what your expenses are going to look like because that should be covered by the client. But for local traveling, I like to just do $1 per minute on the road to and from, and it's just charged to the bride or like the bridal party. It's like, say for example, someone's travel fee is $10. I'm not going to charge $10 every person in the bridal party. It's just $10 one-time charge. How they want to cover it is totally up to them. Sometimes someone wants to pay for it on behalf of the bride, or they all want to divide it. That's totally fine. I kind of let the bride and her girls discuss how they want to take care of that amongst themselves. Go-to concealer for a beginner makeup artist. My favorite concealer when I first started out, and I still use it to this day, is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. It is so good, and you can definitely like work with that even as time goes on. It's a good drugstore and affordable concealer. When you're starting off as a makeup artist, it's going to be important to try to get as many colors in your kit as far as like skin tone, and you're definitely going to want to go for the more affordable products because it's gonna break the bank if you try to do high end in every shade possible. But Maybelline Fit Me concealer has been one of the best concealers I've ever used. Now I'm all about the Tarte Shape Tape, but you know. And if you can't get all of those colors, then definitely I would look into the Maybelline Fit Me or the LA Girl Pro concealers. Those are really, really good. Again, I still use those to this day. What is your go-to foundation for oily and dry skin, high end and low end? So when it comes to bridal, you definitely want to make sure that you're going to be having foundations that are going to be suitable for both skin types, both oily and dry, which can be a little tricky because, you know, not a lot of makeup artists can carry foundation in every shade and then in 2 different formulas. That is like insane. So what I have found is, or what I try to always look for, is a foundation that I can manipulate, because as an artist, you're gonna wanna be able to take a product and figure out what you can do to it to make it suitable for someone with dry skin or suitable for someone with oily skin. I feel like I have to sneeze. So for me, I have been using the Milani Conceal and Perfect foundation in my kit for a couple of years already. And what I like about that foundation is that I am able to manipulate it to my liking. The finish, I wouldn't consider it oily or drying. I wouldn't consider it like luminous or mattifying. It's really gonna finish to how you work with it. So if someone has severely dry skin, I would of course prime with something that's gonna be super moisturizing, like a face oil or a heavy moisturizer, and then going in with the foundation and then maybe just lightly setting with powder. Or on the other end of the spectrum, if they're super oily, then you're gonna wanna really mattify that down. So that foundation, I have found it to be easy to work with and making it suitable for both skin types. If you are wanting to go out there and get foundations that are gonna be suitable for both, for low end, I would suggest for oily skin, the Maybelline Super Stay foundation. It's the new one that they came out with not too long ago. That one is so, so good. If you're looking for dry skin types, then I would say do the L'Oreal True Match has been a good one. It's staple. A lot of artists still use that to this day. Or even the L'Oreal Pro Glow. That would probably be your 2 best drugstore options. Now for high end, if you're gonna want a matte foundation, I would suggest the Estee Lauder Double Wear. I actually used to use that one in my kit, but same thing, it just got way too expensive to be carrying all the shades. And then for dry skin, that one is actually tough because I really haven't worked with too much high-end foundations that are made for drier skin. One that I would think would be a good one that I personally really liked was the Born This Way from Too Faced. Is the makeup application for a bride different than that of a regular client? Is the technique the same or different? So I actually there is a different technique to it. If you go on my website, you see that I have two different packages, and one is considered the bridal package and one is considered, you know, a classic package. And the main difference between those two is that the bridal one is going to offer cream contouring, mink eyelashes, and then a free touch-up kit for the bride. So that's what makes it bridal. Not that someone who is a bride has to choose that package. It could definitely be the other one, but it's just going to kind of depend on like the client and what they like. I always tell people, if you're really not used to a whole lot of makeup and wearing a whole lot of makeup, I would suggest going with the classic one. And the touch-up kit can be bought separately, because that's one thing that a lot of brides do appreciate, is having a touch-up kit, which I'll touch base on a little bit because someone did ask me about touch-ups. How do you ensure a long wear for brides to last them the whole day? What products? So again, this goes back to the difference between the two packages. So the reason why I consider the cream contouring in the bridal package is because you're getting cream contouring along with powder contouring, and with multiple light layers, you're able to get a better wear and longevity of the makeup, because as the makeup begins to wear off throughout the day for the bride, it's not coming off in one thick layer, if that makes sense. You have like a little bit of insurance with every layer of the makeup, and so it just looks like the makeup has stayed perfect all day. And I get a lot of brides that give me feedback telling me that the makeup did last them a very long time. So it has been proven to work, and I think it's definitely a good way to keep, you know, the makeup on a lot longer. That's just what I've been doing for a long time, and it seems to work. So the products that I will say that you should really be using are going to be primers and setting sprays. I'm a believer in them. Not everyone believes in them. They think that they might be like a gimmick product. I personally have found that the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray has been one of the best setting sprays I've ever used, and I still use it to this day in my kit. And then for primer, again, that's all going to depend on the skin type, but more so products, the technique is what's going to make the makeup last all day. So I feel like I would probably want to do a video on a bridal application. That would probably be really fun. I do have a couple of videos where I am doing makeup on other people here on my channel. You can definitely search those up. And in most of those videos, I show the technique that I do that ensures making the makeup last for a long time. Do you offer special pricing for trials, photo sessions the day of? So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I have a discounted price for trials that I offer on weekdays. But then as far as like photo sessions, because the bride has so many occasions that she can get her makeup done for, it is a lot. And I understand that it can be a little bit overwhelming for a bride to have to be paying for all of these sessions. So, you know, they could have their bridal portrait session, their day of, they have their bridal shower, they have their engagement photos, they have engagement parties. It is crazy. So what I like to offer for my brides, and anyone really, is for every third appointment, you're gonna get 10% off. So that way there's a little bit of savings in there. Is the makeup waterproof? Pretty much it is. I have yet to have someone tell me that they cried their eyes out on their wedding day and everything was ruined. I've seen pictures of the ceremonies on some of my clients and they look totally fine. All products I suggest should be waterproof. Most products these days are made to be water resistant, so you should be fine. But that's why going in and really setting with powders and really making sure that you get eyeliners that dry down so well are like super, super crucial if you are going to be doing wedding makeup, because you just never know what can happen. I feel like my camera looks a little foggy. Drop that. Hold on. I wanted to wipe my camera lens, but I lost my rag that I had here. Oh, no, here it is. Maybe it's just my lighting. Okay. So another question I get asked a lot is contracting. Do I offer contracts for brides, or do I require contracts? And I don't require contracts only because I feel like that might be taking a little bit of time out of, like unnecessary time out of someone's day to have a meet, go over a contract. But if it does make you feel better, and if you find that you're running into situations where a contract would have been really helpful, then definitely don't let what I say stop you. How I kind of ensure that, you know, the client and I are in an understanding of what's expected is, again, I have my policies posted on my website. I have it linked to where they pay the deposits on what's expected in my policies as well. And that way, before they pay anything, they are shown what to read and what to understand and expect when it comes to cancellations, when it comes to being late, no-shows, stuff like that. Because unfortunately, in this industry, you're gonna get a lot of people that, well, not a lot, hopefully. I can honestly say it hasn't been a lot, but you are gonna run into those situations, and this is your livelihood, this is your job. For most people, this is, you know, where they get their main income. So you do wanna make sure you are protected in some way to make sure that no one is trying to pull a fast one under you. And also just to make sure that you're not missing out on good clients by people who are wanting to, like I said, be no-shows, or, you know, trying to get away with a little bit more than what they should be able to. Do you do the same look on all the bridesmaids, or let them choose what look they want? That's a good question, and that's actually something that a lot of brides ask me, and then, like, I don't know, I guess I don't think about it too much, but so whenever I am doing a bridal party, I have yet to really have a bride tell me that they want their bridesmaids all to have a certain look. Not when it comes to the makeup. I see that a lot with hair, but with makeup, most brides are totally okay with the bridesmaids choosing their own looks. And I think that that's a little bit better, because I think, just like bridesmaids dresses, it's really hard to find a look that is suitable for every single person, since everyone does have different features. So most of the time I see that the bridesmaids choose their own looks. Now, I do also have a lot of bridal parties that kind of like, you know, I task them, you know, what they have in mind, and they're like, oh, like, I didn't really have anything in mind. I kind of want you to do whatever you feel is best. And then it's funny, because whoever goes first in the bridal party, like out of the bridesmaids, if they let me kind of like do my own thing on them, most of the time, almost everyone after her is like, okay, I'll, you know, whatever you did on her, you can do on me. So it kind of like sets the tone then for the look of what all the bridesmaids are getting that day. But I definitely don't have like any requirements as far as, you know, that the bridesmaids all have to wear the same look, or that, you know, they have to choose their own look. Like, basically it's whatever they want, they can do. Is the skin prep crucial? Do you bring it up during a consultation or trial? Skin prep is so crucial, and it's not even so much like, it's skin prep and also grooming. So to any bride out there that may be watching, because I know this is more geared towards the artist standpoint, but it actually could be a little bit helpful for brides. If you are going to be getting your makeup done professionally, do the artist a favor, and I would say show up to your appointment, obviously clean face. You don't want to be wearing makeup already. You do want to make sure that your face is cleansed. And I always say cleanse, tone, and moisturize, and even eye cream. If you can do those things ahead of time before your makeup appointment, that is so, so beneficial to the artist. And then also make sure that you have your eyebrows freshly groomed. Sometimes ungroomed eyebrows can give a little bit of trouble to artists. I hate to say it, but it is kind of true because I've seen it a few times where it'd be a little bit better if the eyebrows had been groomed. But definitely make sure you do take care of things like that, maybe like a week to a week and a half in advance, just to avoid any type of skin reactions, and then having that also be like something else now that the makeup artist has to make sure that they kind of conceal and cover. But if a client shows up and they have makeup on, I mean, it's not like a big deal. Like, I will just hand them a makeup wipe. So make sure you do have makeup wipes in your kit, so that way you can hand them to anyone who may need to take off existing makeup. And then I always carry a toner and moisturizer and eye cream in my kit in case they didn't put any skincare on. But it really does make a difference on the wear of the makeup. The skincare, because even if the skincare is done, but it's done with like really like maybe emollient type of products, like you're gonna be running into a situation because the skin might be way too slick for the products to stick. So definitely bring it up with your clients. Maybe have that also be on your website as like guidelines of, you know, what to do before your appointment. What bronzer do you recommend? My favorite bronzer of all time, and still to this day, like I just always go back to it, is the Hoola bronzer. I find that it just works on so many different skin tones. But if you're really, really fair, then I definitely would suggest looking into something that is a little bit lighter, because Hoola can even be a little bit too warm for the fair skin. And then it may not be super noticeable on very deep skin tones. So carrying Hoola in your kit is going to be really good, but I would say maybe invest also in a bronzer that's really suitable for fair skin tones and also suitable for deeper skin tones. But Hoola's my favorite. How do you time out what time to get started on a bridal party? So again, this goes back to knowing yourself as an artist and how long it takes you to do a person's face. Once you really like have it like down, like you know how long it's going to take you to get someone's makeup on, what I always tell my brides is that you're going to want to schedule to where the last person is done. My recommendation, at least like at max an hour before ceremony time. I would even say try to strive for like an hour and a half to 2 hours before ceremony time, because you never know what's going to happen between like the ceremony and while you're getting ready. It just makes things, I think, easier for the bride. You definitely don't want to be like working up until like the last minute possible and then have the bride be stressing that she, you know, they still have to take pictures and all that stuff on wedding days. So I always say like work from an hour before ceremony time and then calculate how many people you're taking, consider what time you're willing to start, how early you want to start in the mornings if it's going to be a rather large bridal party. And then book from there. Like that's how you'll find out what's a good start time. What do you do for retouching? So this also goes back to my makeup touch-up kits that I offer for brides. So every bride, I tell them everything should stay on completely fine without retouching. But of course, one thing that most people experience is their face starting to look a little shiny after so many hours. So I offer blotting papers in my touch-up kit. I also tell them if you can, try to take a pressed powder compact with you. And whenever you're touching your face, don't swipe, you know, because you're gonna move around product. You definitely always want to be pressing. So that way oil is absorbed, but you're not disturbing the makeup at all. In the touch-up kit, I also offer a bit of the lipstick that we used with a lipstick wand and then a straw so they can drink out of anything comfortably without having to worry about ruining their lipstick. A little bit of eyelash glue as well, because who knows, my eyelash glue usually holds up really well even in tears, but if you're really, really crying, I mean, you can definitely like start to lose an eyelash. So extra glue is always really good too. And eye drops, I always offer eye drops, but you're really gonna wanna worry about like oiliness, lipstick, and I would even say blush, because I think blush also wears off a little bit and everyone just like loves more blush, if that makes sense. So for some of the questions that I get on here, let me see, because this is weird. The questions here go away after a little bit. Okay. Leticia asked, do you have a cosmetology license or a certification from your beauty days in Dillard's? Okay, so that's also something that you have to look into as an artist and where you are working in, like what region you're working in. So in Texas, you don't need a cosmetology license to do makeup. So I don't have any type of cosmetology license. Any type of certification I had was more about training with the Bobbi Brown company and cosmetics. But one thing that I would say to do as an artist to really like perfect your skill set and to make you a little bit more credible is take advantage of any type of classes that other artists may be offering to help give you certifications. I unfortunately have yet to be able to do any classes that I like with artists that I look up to and I follow, but I definitely have those that I want to attend. And even just having those like certifications means a lot to me, but it also I think will like look good to show, and you know, that way your clients can see that you are someone that's always trying to better your skills. Where can you find, Sandy C, where can you find to make your website? Google it. Okay, so there's so many different website building tools out there. The one that I have been using most recently to have my website up and running, let me see if I can pull it up and show it, is from Squarespace. I've been using Squarespace for my most current website, and I find that it's really easy to work with. You also don't want your website to be like super complicated. I like to keep it pretty clean and simple and just have my services listed, a little bit about me, and any other crucial information that I feel like a client should know about. But this is what my website looks like a little bit. And you can kind of see, that's just the home page. But it was so easy to build. Squarespace made it really easy to customize it to my liking. So that's one website I would recommend to look into if you are looking to build a website. Let's see. Do you recommend deposits? Totally, I recommend deposits. Like I said, deposits for me personally is just a way to hold people accountable on both ends, because no one wants to be at a loss when it comes to money. So deposits, I think, have really made it better to have, you know, clients take you a little more seriously. So I recommend deposits. How much of a deposit you want them to charge is up to you. I go by a 50% rule. What foundation are you using right now? I am using the Bare Minerals Bare Pro foundation, and it's one of my favorites recently. It's been really good. Did I miss a lot? Not too much. The time you logged in. I will be saving this video, so if you did log in like after this video started, then it'll still be up on my channel. Have you tried the Tatcha Silk Canvas? I have not tried it. I actually haven't tried a lot from Tatcha. What cream contour do you use in bridal? So the cream contouring products that I have been using for a long time are the Maron HD creams. Those are technically considered foundations, but I use them for contouring and highlighting because they just make the skin look like flawless. I will be doing an updated kit tour video for my channel, not a live one because it's gonna be too long. I need to edit that down. But I will be doing an updated kit tour since I have recently got a new kit and I was able to kind of throw out some product that I really hadn't been using too often. So that'll be updated soon. What toner and moisturizer do you use on clients? So for toner, I love the Pixi Glow Tonic. I have been using that one for a long time in my kit. I carry around like a little box of cotton pads with them pre-soaked the toner. And then I use either the Fresh Rose cream moisturizer for drier skin types, and then I have the Urban Decay gel. I can't think of the full name of it, but it's a gel moisturizer for my oilier skin clients. What lash glue do you use? I swear by the Kiss lash adhesive. I think that it is one of the best. It reminds me so much of the House of Lashes lash glue that I used to use a long time ago. And that one is super good too, but it's just so expensive and it's online only. So once I found the Kiss one, it's pretty much a dupe for it. You can buy that one at any drugstore. I don't like the way these comments come out because I can't really have to always keep scrolling back. What do you put the lipstick and eyelash glue in for your touch-up kit? So for the lipstick, I actually put them, do I have one here? Dang it, I don't think I do. So for the lipstick, I ordered these sample jars on Amazon. They're teeny tiny little sample jars with like a twist off, and that way I can, you know, roll some of the lipstick in there because I mainly use liquid lipsticks. If it's like wax lipstick, then I just scoop it out and put it in there. But I have tiny sample jars from Amazon. And then for the lash glue, the lashes that I get are the Tati Mink lashes. And they also sell eyelash glue packs, and they come in like little sample eyelash glue packs. So I put them in there. So it's actually really, really convenient and easy. Yes, you should register your business, and yes, just legal wise and, you know, taxes and all of that, you definitely want to make sure that business is registered, because I mean, you're making income, so you're gonna want to make, you don't want the IRS coming after you. What makeup charge do you have? Wait, I don't understand this. Oh. What makeup chair do you have and where'd you get it from? It's actually the chair that I'm sitting on right now, and I actually got this at home, and it's the store called At Home, and they have a whole bunch of different type of adjustable chairs. Personally, I like a chair that has height because being hunched over when someone is too low is like so bad on your back, so bad. Hey, how do you make the bride stand out, look different from the rest of her bridal party? Well, it's kind of funny because I feel like that's a question that a lot of people worry about, but it is definitely not too hard to do because one, the bride is going to be wearing all white. Two, her hair is probably going to be done in a more extravagant way than bridesmaids, and she's going to be wearing the veil or a headpiece. When the whole look comes together, there's almost like no way the bride's gonna like not stand out compared to her bridesmaids. So as far as the makeup look goes, you know, there's really nothing that you have to do to make her stand out more, because whatever she wants done, I mean, that's what you're gonna have to abide by. So basically her whole look, all things working together is what's gonna make her stand out at the end of the day. So maybe that will help kind of take pressure off of you if you feel like you need to do something for the bride to make her stand out. You really don't have to. I personally don't think it's necessary. You know, just do her makeup to the best of your abilities, but do what she's wanting. Don't try to get creative. I wouldn't suggest getting creative and being like, look, you need this because you need to stand out. Like, just let her choose, and that way she feels super comfortable and super confident, because you can tell when someone's uncomfortable. What primer is better for oily and for dry skin? For oily skin, I would recommend the Benefit Professional, and then recently the Can't Stop Won't Stop primer from NYX is Hardcore. Super good for oily skin. For drier skin, I use either a beauty oil from Pixi, or I use just a moisturizer, or I have a smoothing primer from CoverGirl. Let me see if it's this one right here, because it still hides pores, but it's super, it feels like lotion. Let's see. Do the products you carry work well on everybody? Yes, for the most part. I don't put anything in my kit that, one, I haven't tried on myself, and two, that I haven't kind of played around with on most skin types. So I do try to make sure that whatever I throw in my kit is going to be able to work with most people, but then it's also good to carry variations to, you know, have just in case someone needs something specifically. So what face powder do you recommend? Face powder, I would suggest I've recently been really liking the Milk powders. They have like 3 different shades. I've been using that a lot. And then the NYX Stay Matte Not Flat has always been a favorite of mine. Recently, I've been using the Bare Minerals foundation powders. This is, okay, I'm gonna start to come to a close here, but I'm gonna answer a few more questions. In your contract, do you have a non-refundable and non-transferable deposit? Just wondering if a bridesmaid decide not to have makeup done and the bride has paid already, and the bride has already paid a deposit. So I do. So that's also part of like my contract, or part of like the deposit policy. All appointments require a 50% deposit. So if someone has already paid a deposit and things happen, I totally understand. I'm not going to be like super like hardcore about it. But if someone does happen to want to back out of an appointment or have to cancel or whatever it may be, I offer them this because I don't like to be like, well, too bad, like you lost out. I'm just not that type of person. So like, for example, if someone cancels an appointment and they can't make it for some reason, I definitely will, you know, let them know, okay, the deposit's not refundable as stated in the contract or as stated in my policies. But what I do allow for them is a 90-day time period from the canceled date to use for another appointment. Now, if it's someone who's like, I'll never use it again, or like, I'm not gonna have anything in 90 days, then that's where it's like, okay, well, unfortunately you lost your deposit because that's what's stated in my policies. So, you know, but I do try to give leeway with like the 90-day rule. Do you know how much money is considered a requirement to make 1 year to file your taxes for being self-employed? I honestly want to say I think this is it. I don't like take my word for it, but from what I've learned, I think it's, if you're making at least 20,000, you need to file and report it. If it's under that, then I don't think you have to, but like I said, that could not be completely right, but I believe if it's over 20, you have to. But it's kind of good to have like credit card processing programs, because that's going to help keep track. Like for me, I use Square to process credit cards, collect deposits, stuff like that. So Square kind of keeps track of my income for me, and they let you know when you've met the threshold to have to file, and they'll send you your they'll send you your tax forms and all that to be like, I just got mine recently for last year. So they make it really, really easy. So I would suggest having something like that so you can record exactly what your income is, and that way you yourself are protected and you're legally doing things and, you know, reporting to the IRS. But yeah, all that stuff is kind of like the not so fun stuff when it comes to basically being self-employed, period, whatever field you're in. Thank you. Okay, so I think that pretty much wraps up this video. I am like total cottonmouth already. But I hope it was helpful. Like I said, thank you guys. This video will stay up on my channel. It's not going to go anywhere. So in case anyone tuned in late, or you know, you want to rewatch it and kind of skip through and just hear parts that pertain to your interests, you can do so. But make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up, and make sure you are subscribed to my channel. I'm not sure if you can see this video if you're subscribed or not. I'm still not like 100% sure how this whole YouTube live thing works. But I will be having a updated kit tour really soon, And, you know, obviously I'm posting all the time on like Snapchat and my Instagram and stuff like that. So thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I can do one of these again soon. If you have an idea for like a live video topic or what you would want to see live, definitely let me know, because sometimes my brain, I'm just like, I don't have any good ideas. Like I'm drained of like video ideas. So let me know what you want to see. But